story that I'm ready to tell, and it goes something like this. You see, long ago there lived a prince, and he just couldn't get a kiss. And it wasn't because he was ugly, no, that wasn't the problem he had. He was brave and strong, but there was one thing wrong, his breath was very bad. He had dragon breath. Let me hear you do the dragon breath. He had dragon breath. Everybody was scared to death. Every day he got dressed in his princely best, red velvet and a golden crown. And then he would say, I'm getting kissed today, and he would walk out into the town. Every princess, every maiden fair would greet him as he walked on by. But when he said hello, well, I guess you know, every one of them said goodbye. He had dragon breath.
Ew, gross.
That's what he had dragon breath. And they were all scared to death. One day the poor prince couldn't take it anymore. He sat down on the ground and cried. And just then a big buzzard that was flying around came and landed at the prince's side. She shook her featherless head, and then the buzzard said, Hey buddy, what's the matter with you? And then the prince told a story. She said, don't worry, my breath's pretty terrible too. I got dragon breath. That's what the buzzard said, she had dragon breath. And then the buzzard said to him, Now listen, if it's just a little kissing that you're missing, I don't mind if you kiss me. And then the prince said, You, that'll never do. She said, Why don't you pucker up and see? Well, the prince was afraid and a bit dismayed. He said, I can't believe I'm doing this. But the buzzard wasn't waiting, there was no hesitating, so he gave her just a little kiss like this. Well, there was a big cloud of smoke, and this ain't no joke. When the prince opened up his eyes, a princess stood where the buzzard had been, and the prince, he was quite surprised. The princess smiled, the prince was beguiled. At last his life was complete. He said, will you be mine? And when she said, fine, she knocked him right off of his feet. She had dragon breath. That's what the princess had, she had dragon breath. But to him it was a heavenly sin, she had dragon breath. And they rode off into the sunset, dragon breath. They lived in a castle, they both had dragon breath. They had 3 little kids and they all had dragon breath.
Now give my kiss here.
They had a cat and a dog and they both had dragon breath.